Hi, subscribers and new viewers. This is my second viewer request for Pluto reading out. And today it's going to be Pluto. Anyone of you with your natal Pluto in the 5th house or in Leo? Because Leo is the natural, or the 5th house is the natural house of Leo. Okay. Individuals who have Pluto in the 5th house or Leo have been learning the evolutionary lesson of creative self-actualization. The 5th house and Leo are naturally fire-oriented archetypes. As such, these people will feel as though they have a special destiny to fulfill, just as those with Pluto in the 5th house or Aries do. Which those of you, if any of you listen to Aries, Pluto in the 1st house or in Aries, some of you might have both. This is also saying the same thing about you have a special destiny to fulfill. To me, this is just an extension. It's after. So the 1st house or Aries is the first part, and then Leo or the 5th house is your second part. You will do all of it, or that is what you have the opportunity to do, the whole thing. Those of you, again, with Pluto in the 1st house or Aries and Pluto in the 5th house or Leo. Okay. Individuals with Pluto in the 1st house or Aries needed to maintain freedom and independence in order to discover their specialness through experiences they felt instinctively drawn into. They were in a condition of perpetual discovery on a moment-to-moment basis. Individuals with Pluto in the 5th house or Leo have needed and will need to actualize this special destiny. They will need to establish and project this creative purpose upon the environment. So to me, where Aries was 1st house Pluto or in Aries, the individual was just knowing instinctually, subconsciously, unconsciously, that they have a special purpose, but they don't consciously know what it is or anything like that. That's how they go through the process of becoming consciously aware. And then to me, what it's saying about Pluto in the 5th house and or Leo is saying that then you will know this consciously and then creatively put it out into the world in some way, shape, or form, which is specific to you individually, each of you. Very, very beautiful. Okay. This creative purpose is no longer a matter of discovery, but is already formed in the 5th house Pluto. It is inherent and complete. As a result, these individuals will deeply sense this special purpose in the depths of their souls. The evolutionary desire and need has been and will be to fulfill this purpose from within. On this basis, these individuals have also been learning to take charge of their lives and to seize destiny and shape it out of the strength of their wills. In other words, these people have needed to direct their own plays. Because 5th house Pluto individuals emerge from the womb with this deep feeling of specialness. They have desires and needs to be recognized and treated as special and unique. These feelings are so intense that they can create a virtually bottomless pit in terms of the need for love, attention, and flattery. Whatever is received is never really enough. Although the needs can be temporarily satisfied, the compulsive emotional cravings for attention, love, and adulation drives the individual ever forward for more. And again, no guilt, no feeling bad about this, any of you, if any of you are, because this is in your natal wheel. This is what you were born with. And now you're listening, bringing this out into your conscious awareness. And so you can look back and say, oh yes, okay, I did that. All right, well, now you're becoming consciously aware of what's going on and why. And it's going to be different for all of you. But again, don't feel bad. No, not at all. In fact, this can let go. This can free you of any blaming, of any guilt. I just got 2 for some of you. Okay. Children with Pluto in the 5th house can create unique tests for their parents because they can go to any length to get recognition, love, and attention, even if it is negative attention. These children can unconsciously manipulate situations, parents, and others in order to receive the required attention. They can feel highly threatened or defensive when another child or person is given attention or love, or when the parents themselves show affection toward one another. And I just felt the need to say that some of you, maybe you also, this is your Pluto, and maybe you are also getting recognized that some of you that have children, you're recognizing that this pertains to them too. Well, that would make sense if they might also, or probably also, have Pluto either in the 5th house or Leo also, just like you. And again, that's transferred down, especially those of you that are females, your mothers that are listening to this, because scientifically it's been proven, and you can check this out for yourself. Dr. Joe Dispenza is where I heard it first from, that during a mother's 3rd trimester of pregnancy, the mother automatically downloads trillions of bits of information into the baby's brain, into the baby's subconscious. And this will be one of these passed down things, because of course, if you're just listening to this just now and you have a child, you didn't have any chance of knowing any of this consciously in the first place to do anything different. And so it's going to be passed down to your baby. That's just what happens. So don't you feel bad, not one single bit, because now you are becoming aware for you and your child. And maybe some of you, you'd like to get your child's natal wheel done too. I have no problem doing that. I can do that, or you don't have to go to me. I do it free of charge, of course. I work on donations only, those of you that don't know. Okay. But you can look down in the description box below and get all the information you need if you don't know what I would specifically need, or anyone, to do your child's natal wheel as well. And maybe you need your wheel done too, some of you, but I would assume that you would know. You already have your natal wheel done if you know what your Pluto is. Okay. Of course, this type of emotional behavior follows the person into adulthood. People with Pluto in the fifth house can be highly self-centered and self-focused. They can feel as though the universe revolves around them, just as the sun is the center of our solar system. Individuals with Pluto in the fifth house, and the sun naturally rules the fifth house and Leo, that's the planet, can expect to have all things revolve around them. Yet these individuals must learn to understand that this condition has been the evolutionary intention, desire, and need from the past to creatively actualize and be in charge of their own unique and special purpose. We must strive to understand the fifth house Pluto individual in this light and resist the temptation to harshly judge this kind of emotional behavior in the earlier years of their lives. Okay, and I'm just going to scan forward again because this writer is giving specific detailed for someone specifically in their natal wheel, and so I'm just going to skip forward so that because this is a general reading, and so for all of you too, anyone that is listening and you want a copy of what I am reading so that you can reread it for yourselves, and some of you might want to know the details because it might be correspond to you that I'm not reading, just send me an email. And what email would be good for me to send it to, and I certainly will. And let me know specifically that this is the reading that you're wanting me to copy. Okay, one of the karmic and evolutionary problems of this dynamic is that many of these people will consider themselves as the source of their own creativity because individualized, subjective power is at maximum development or expression with Pluto in the fifth house or Leo. And I believe he means because the natural, the fifth house is where your creativity, true love, and your children resides, the fifth house. And also Leo has that flavoring as well because Leo is in the natural house of the fifth house. Okay. From a universal point of view, this orientation obviously implies a limitation. All the mitigating factors and the observed evolutionary condition must be assessed to determine to what degree an individual has identified with the creative principle in this way. In the worst scenarios, some of these individuals will consider themselves to be miniature gods who are able to create and destroy reality at will. Many of these individuals with Pluto in the fifth house or in Leo have had prior lifetimes in which they are recognized as special in some way. As a result, many of these individuals will have unconscious memories of being treated as special by others. In this life, these unconscious memories can lead into a situation wherein they simply expect to be treated and acknowledged in the same way again. They expect that others will cater to their needs, that doors will open before them, that the red carpet will unfurl as they emerge upon the scene of life. These memories can condition and dictate what these individuals think and feel they need in this life. Again, some will manipulate situations and people to receive the desired attention and recognition. This can be done in a variety of ways relative to the specific way that the individual has responded to this evolutionary impulse. As a result of this prior evolutionary intent and the associated memories, it is not uncommon for many of these individuals to create what I call the pyramid reality structure, in which they place themselves at the very top. And again, because you don't know, and this is what the energy that was coming to you while you were being birthed, you're going to be doing these things at some point in your life, up until you become consciously aware of where that's coming from and where that comes from and what that has to do with, so that you can make alterations where you feel necessary. Okay. So again, no guilt. Don't feel bad, please. We all have our own individual stuff to work through. Believe me, I know this. I know this personally for myself. I have had to work through major stuff. Okay. Okay, so where was I? I apologize here. I'm just going to start that paragraph again. I'm so sorry. As a result of this prior evolutionary intent and the associated memories, it is not uncommon for many of these individuals to create what I call the pyramid reality structure, in which they place themselves at the very top. Every other factor in their reality structure revolves around and serves them. Every other factor is subordinate or secondary to the fulfillment of their own purposes. Again, this is what you are going to do or have already done in your past. Again, this can be done in a variety of ways as illustrated above, because the need for recognition, acknowledgement, and attention can be so compulsive. Many fifth house Pluto individuals are not beyond taking emotional gambles or risks to get the needed attention. With respect to the pyramid reality structure, if the individual is not getting the needed attention or recognition from the point of view of their inner reality references, then many can threaten to topple their existing external reality structures in order to get the required attention. Thus, for example, if an individual is already married and is not receiving the required love and attention that he or she feels is their due, then some will involve themselves in a love affair to get this type of emotional feedback. Such emotional risk-taking can take many forms, but the need for power and recognition will always be the underlying theme. In the case of an affair, the individual, of course, runs the risk of being discovered. If the individual is discovered, then the possibility of having the existing reality, the marriage, destroyed would exist. This kind of emotional shock and the different forms that this shock can assume will serve to create the necessary blow. This blow will enforce upon the individual the necessary realizations as to where he or she was coming from and for what reasons. With reference to the pyramid reality structure, many of these individuals will unconsciously manipulate others in order to have their emotional needs fulfilled. In the example where the individual could seek out an affair, he or she could cater to the desires of the potential lover in order to fulfill his or her self-centered desires and needs. As soon as the need is fulfilled, then the person will terminate the emotional risk situation. Fifth house Pluto people can also be quite given to shaping and controlling the lives of those around them, including their children. This can occur because they have been learning how to identify their own special purposes and actualizing them through the strengths of their own wills. Thus, it is only natural that they will project this developed inner capacity upon others, since their own souls resonate to this vibration. Keep in mind that this process will work in all fifth house Pluto individuals in some way. This need to shape and control the lives of others can be overtly or covertly stated, and it will manifest in varying degrees of compulsion and intensity. In the worst cases, the individual will subconsciously play God as he or she attempts to direct the lives of others according to what they feel or think another should or could do. In positive cases, the fifth house Pluto person will encourage the individual development of those around them because they value this need in themselves. Yet, even in positive cases, it can be very difficult for the individual to resist the desire to encourage this development according to what they think is right for the individual. Fifth house Pluto people can be very giving and generous, and yet this giving and apparent generosity is commonly extended only when it suits some personal need. Because there is such a high degree of self-focus, the giving is commonly not related to the actual needs of another, but to what they think the other needs. This emotional complex, of course, is relative to all the other mitigating factors in terms of its degree of fixity and the different lenses, the position of the nodes, and so forth, through which it will be expressed. This dynamic can be difficult for many fifth house Pluto individuals to understand because they are giving within their own reality references. However, that is exactly where the problem lies. In other words, the giving is occurring from within their own reality references and not the others. This orientation can set the stage for emotional scenes and confrontations when others manifest negative feedback in relation to what is being given by the fifth house Pluto individual. These scenes, when they occur, are necessary. Now hear that. These scenes, when they occur, are necessary because they can serve to undermine the pyramid reality structure of the fifth house Pluto individual. In so doing, the individual will begin to experience the effect of the fifth house polarity point, the 11th house. The evolutionary intent described in the 11th house polarity, or Aquarius, because Aquarius is the 11th house is the natural house of Aquarius. Okay, let's say that again. The evolutionary intent described in the 11th house polarity, or Aquarius, is one of developing an objective rather than a subjective consciousness and focus. The individual must learn to link their special destiny and creative purpose to a socially useful or relevant function. In order for this evolutionary lesson to be realized, many of these individuals will be blocked or denied in fulfilling their unique purpose. The blocking force will be the social structure itself. This situation can lead to tremendous emotional frustration and anger. Frustration is heightened because society apparently is not acknowledging or recognizing the fifth house Pluto individual as special. They sense within that they have a special destiny to fulfill, yet are blocked in a variety of ways from being able to realize it. Even if they can succeed in some way of actualizing some aspect of their creative purpose, they may still experience the lack of enough recognition according to their own estimations of how much they should have. Accepting their lot in life can be very tough as a result. The royal red carpet seems to remain furled. The remembered acclaim, but distant memories. By being relatively relegated to the sidelines, these individuals are forced to learn the lessons of objectivity. In addition, they are learning how to become detached from the pyramid structure of their inner reality. As a result, these individuals may come to realize how to link their purpose to the needs of the whole or society. In so doing, they can contribute to the relevant needs of the whole, and their unique and special gifts can be individuals who will learn that others are just as special as themselves. They can give to society or another in the ways that are needed as a result of this evolutionary intent. These individuals are learning to be a member of the play, not the director of it. Okay, we're still good time-wise. Okay, just a second here. Okay, let me see here. As this process unfolds, the evolutionary metamorphosis will produce people who can now recognize the individuality and needs of their children. This metamorphosis will allow them to guide their lives objectively, rather than willfully creating their children's identities out of their own self-centered images. It is not uncommon for fifth house Pluto people to have children who are very strong-willed, self-centered, and who are resistant to the dictates of their parents. The resulting collision of wills produces the emotional confrontation necessary to induce the lesson of objectivity and detachment. The children can serve as mirrors who reflect the deepest inner dynamics of one or both of the parents. This mirror effect can be quite stark for one or both of the parents, especially if they are emotionally resistant to accepting, admitting, or seeing these similar dynamics in themselves. The evolutionary lessons of the fifth house Pluto individual must also be passed on and taught to the child. By learning the necessary lessons of objectivity and detachment, fifth house Pluto individuals can also realize that they are not the source of creativity. They are a channel for the expression of the creative principle in the universe. Oh, that's beautiful. This fundamental lesson is very important. Until it is fully realized, the creative flow can cyclically dry up or be blocked in order to induce the progressive realization of the true source of creativity. In this way, these individuals learn how to acknowledge creativity and specialness in others without feeling threatened. Once these evolutionary lessons are put in motion with conscious intent, these individuals can create something new and unique in whatever field of endeavor they are destined to fulfill. That which they create can have uncommon depth and power of a transformative nature. Sometimes this creation may be ahead of its time, the dead artist syndrome. Yet, eventually, that which was created will be accepted. These individuals can achieve a degree of fame or acclaim with respect to what they do apply themselves to. They can act as natural leaders and pioneers and objectively understand how to guide the individual development and actualization of those that they touch. In some, the natural leadership abilities is a sight to behold. The other day I was watching several children play. They were all 4 and 5-year-olds. At one point, an 18-month-old baby wandered by these children. This little girl had a tremendously powerful aura. All the 4 and 5-year-old children stopped what they were doing and began to follow her. Mesmerized, they simply fell into line behind this child. The baby was undaunted and simply kept walking. After watching this scene, I asked the mother of the baby if she would give me the birth date of her child. She humored me and obliged. As it turned out, the little one had Pluto conjunct Saturn in the 5th house. Pluto being in the last degree of Libra, conjunct Saturn in the early degrees of Scorpio. The South Node was in Capricorn in the 8th house, the South Node's planetary ruler being Saturn. This intrinsic leadership capacity created an almost Pied Piper-like effect upon the 4 and 5-year-olds, even though she was only 18 months old. Common characteristics of Pluto in the 5th house, or Leo, include tremendous strength of will, dignified, creative, needing attention and acknowledgement, loving, giving, can issue attention and love upon others, magnetic, generally narcissistic, king or queen complex, powerful and intense at a core level, can be quite demanding in overt or covert ways, suspicious of yet needing flattery, very protective of those close to them. Okay. All right, well, that is all I have for those of you with your natal Pluto in the 5th house or Leo. Okay? Any questions or comments, please. I invite them, and I will happily give you a response. And until next time.